Okay, well, what we'll do, welcome to the Mind Hygiene meditation. I was hoping that there would be more, but we'll have an intimate, fun time. If you guys want to stand up, what we'll do is we'll just do a quick grounding meditation where we just become present when we have phones, mind is wandering everywhere. So what we'll do is kind of just stand shoulder width and just relax your hands and relax your neck. A lot of the time there's a lot of tension in the neck. I found myself moving forward like this a lot. So what we'll do is we'll take a total of 9 breaths, but what we'll do for the first 2 is we'll just kind of be curious to see how it feels to inhabit the shoulders when the chest expands. And we'll just focus on this because we only have so much time. Okay, let's go ahead and take a breath. And just see how it feels when you expand your neck, your shoulders, and your chest. And what we'll do for the next 7 breaths is just accept whatever happens, show the thoughts compassion, and empathize with what you're thinking. We'll do a total of 7 more. Nothing to fix. Nothing to overcome. 3 and 2. 1. Okay, how are you guys? Did you get 9? Did you get a total of 9? Okay, good. All right, we'll have a seat. All right, thank you. Yeah, a lot of the times, when I switch attention, for example, I'll have coffee, I'll have a cell phone that has like 5 texts, I'll have an email that have a couple of resentments waiting, and then I have a browser that has 10 tabs open. So what I'll do is I'll do this really quick before I shift attention. And I have 1 tab open all the time, 2 tabs. My phone is a separate event. So that's kind of how I've come to be able to concentrate very well at work. Okay, well, let's start. This is going to be super fun. Enhanced mindful communication with empathy through mind hygiene. What we'll do by the end of this time, you'll have tools to be happy, to be nice, but you have to put the work in though. Right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some things with you that may or may not work for you. Just because it worked for me doesn't mean it'll work for you. But you can take parts of it, start the spark. John Kabat-Zinn, who else is Sadhguru? Hello? He says that. You guys seen Sadhguru? He says, yeah. Yeah. And what we'll do is understand that writing is where the magic is. When it comes to meditation, it doesn't necessarily have to be what we think, where we're sitting down with incense, cross-legged, and with your hands in this position. Anybody tell me what the definition of empathy is? What do you guys think empathy is? Go ahead. We'll make this interactive.
Without looking at that, I asked my kids that the other day too. We like to do little topics, but just putting yourself in somebody else's shoes so that you can really understand what they're going through and have compassion through that understanding.
Hopefully the shoes don't stink. What do you guys think? Do you have any other thoughts?
And even if the shoes stink, that's part of it.
That's a good one. I haven't thought about that. Yeah. When it comes to that, there's a lot to be said about having a vicarious experience through somebody. Like as an example, if there's somebody who's 16 years old, they're living in the hood, people are selling drugs, they're not going to school. Fortunately or unfortunately, I can empathize with them for like 20 seconds because I've been there. So I have that luxury of having that vicarious experience. What I like to say is as much as you can relate through yourself, family members, or whatever it is, to have a quick 20-second vicarious experience, but you got to be present. Yeah, that's the most important thing. And meditation. What do you guys think the definition of meditation is? Go, Kelsey.
I think the word that you just used, being
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, meditation is a written or thoughtful practice, is from Wikipedia, in which an individual uses a technique such as mindfulness, focusing the mind on a particular object, which would be like a flip chart, with a thought or activity to train attention and awareness to achieve emotional freedom. I added that. Emotional freedom is where I don't have resentments, I don't judge myself, I don't resent myself. I love what I don't like about myself, and I've forgiven myself, but I understand why I've forgiven myself. I just don't say I forgive and forget. I've taken time to empathize with myself and have multiple vicarious experiences by writing black and white, so there's no confusion. Any questions, thoughts there? No? Yeah, when we talk about, I'm a patient experience speaker. When we talk about patient experiences, I like to go through simple mind hygiene techniques that will lead to elevated patient experiences, avoid burnout, increase compliance, and when you do, it fulfills the bottom line. Decrease readmissions. There are better experiences with patients. You can engage them in their care better, and they'll trust you. Because when you take time to empathize with them really quick, and when you empathize with yourself, example, like if you're going to work and you're mad and somebody flips you off, I mean, as it is, the whole day is full of resentments. But when you can empathize with them, how much are they hurting? And then when you go to work, you're able to empathize with other people, with your staff, and engage people. So that's kind of what we're gonna put some tools in place to learn how we can be more empathetic, empower ourselves, and embellish strong relationships. But this can relate to anything. I really started the mind hygiene to not resent myself. But then I use this to lose weight. I use this to not eat sugar. So some examples. Let's try to think of this one time. This one time where there was this one person that you resent. There's this one time that this one person did something to you that you said that you couldn't forgive them for. And when you talked about them to somebody, you judged them heavily. I can't believe they did that. Victim. They did that to me? Who are they? I hope that something happens to them. Let me blame them for everything that happened to me. This one time where this one person or this one individual said that you could not forgive them. Imagine a place where you can take those life experiences I talked about yesterday. My definition of trauma is life experiences that we have not inspired from yet. Imagine if you can take that life experience and understand, empathize with yourself first, forgive yourself, and then enter the process of forgiveness of others. Imagine how much more clear your mind is. Not having things rent space in your head, signing a lease, and then owning your head. Well, my dad did that for many years. I was born in Juneau. Anybody served our country here? Your brother? Well, thank you for the service to our country. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be standing here, being able to click this with peace, drinking my coffee, mind hygiene, meditating with you guys, and my parents living the American dream for me. I was born in Juneau, immigrant parents. Growing up in Juneau, I had an intimate relationship with domestic violence shelters, Child Protective Services, Adult Protective Services, and the Juneau Police. My mom would go on to live with schizophrenia. She would be institutionalized for 27 years, 16 years lockdown, bzz, in, out, 9 years step down. My mom once told me that was her drug. She would purposely not sleep so she can, be high, so she can forget about my dad, taking us away from my mom. My brother I saw the imprint on the floor. 17 days he was found dead. Meth and alcohol. This was one big imprint on the floor. They said that I couldn't see the body. I was like, no, it's the same. Yeah, it was like 5 years that I hadn't spoken to him. And when I got the call, it's interesting. I was in a patient room and I'm like, you know what? Like, you're on drugs. You're one step away from being where my brother could be. And then the next day I got the call. Yeah, so yeah, that would happen. And then I would go on to move to Seattle when I was 7. Well, I was tired of being bullied, so I became a bully. I'm standing outside of the courtroom, 1996, cold, dreary Seattle day, and I'm about to go away to jail for the third time. So luckily it's a grand theft auto. I never did anything violent. So I'm standing outside of the courtroom, take a pack of cigarettes out. I swear, this is exactly how it happened. Lit up the cigarette. As I blow the cigarette smoke out, there's two people that show up from South India. I'd never seen them. My dad comes with them, and I'm walking into the courtroom. There's white walls. There's orange jumpsuit waiting for me. My dad is standing to the right of me. My grandmother's behind me, and the judge is looking at me, and my dad goes, "Your Honor, my son, he's a thief. He's a vagabond. He's a criminal. But I'll show him the way, Your Honor. I'll take him to India. I'll rehabilitate him myself and show him the relentless pursuit of truth." My grandmother's behind me. Neen banbaro. India ke America dal halagogta idya. I speak fluent Kannada, the South Indian language. And she's like, "You're ruining your life in America. Come to India." And the judge looks at me, "Son, this ain't your first rodeo. What makes you think you're going to change?" Then what happens? My dad, I was going to go away for 6 months, and my dad had a one-way flight ticket, and the judge empathized, sympathized, and let me go. I was in jail for 2 weeks. The day I got out, I went to India. Well, to be cool in Seattle, 1996, cold, dreary Seattle day, I was a crip half of the year, and I was a blood the other half. Who else? Whoever accepted me, that's what I did. I hung out with them. But to be cool in India, you got to study. So I got 7 scholarships into med school. But at the time, I had no idea what any of that was. I didn't know how to carry fractions. I didn't know what the table of elements was. I had no idea what trigonometry was. I'd never heard of these things because I was busy being a wannabe gangster. Fast forward about 6 years later, hot Mangalore, South India, Southwest India is where I went to medical college, and it's super hot there. Taking 3 showers a day, I would just like run out of soap, swear. It was so hot. So I'm coming down the stairs, and it's my final year exam. I'm about to take my first paper. It's medicine. And I have my cigarettes in my pocket, and I have my backpack, and I have some food. And as I'm walking out of the door, my dad stands to the right of me here. That means I want you to fail 10 times. And back in those days, I'm 24, you don't cry. Too good, I'm too strong. I don't cry. But I started crying. Somehow I went, I don't know, God bless me, somehow I went and passed that test. For the next 6 papers, I was just thinking about that. Why is it that a person who took me, 1996, young boy, about to go away to jail for the 3rd time, brings me to India, gives me shelter, gives me food, gives me some level of security. Even though I got the scholarships, you still have to pay about $3,000 US, like a year. So I didn't have that money, so my dad was paying for it. But why is it that he did that? You should think about that one time that person did that to you. Like, why is it that they took care of you, they fed you, they cuddled you? There's a few pictures of my dad, kissing me. Like, why did he do that, though? Like, I want to know why he did that. And throughout the years, that resentment, now whatever story I have may not relate to you, but you can relate that one person who helped you, one friend. Some friends are the worst, Like with my dad, it's like my dad. But when you got your friends and, your homies and your buddies, it's like if they do something to you, man, I remember that more than my dad. Yeah, and, when you have those things renting space in your head, that resentment forms an implicit bias. And it carries on through life. Mind hygiene. When I think of mind hygiene, I have my own thoughts about it. What do you guys think?
Like clearing your head. Clean it up. Like when you wake up, you clean your face. Like you clean your head up by just getting it to not have any, just no thoughts.
I think clean, just hygiene, this time, instead of hygiene, the body, it's the mind. So clean.
Yeah, definitely. When we wake up, we think about dental hygiene. We think about norepinephrine hygiene. You want to drink some coffee. We think about clothes hygiene. But if we don't have our mind operating at an optimized level, how are we able to do these things? How is it that we're able to function throughout the day by putting these small pieces of life together without hygienically treating our mind. So there was a point in my life where probably for about a couple of years, I would wake up every morning and do this. It would be a little different each time, but I wouldn't do anything else. The first thing I would do is start writing. When it comes to mind hygiene, it's based on my 6 years, and I'm continuing to go. Matter of fact, my therapist is doing intense therapy with me. That will be 2 hours of EMDR, 1 hour off, and 2 hours. You're saving so much time, the day doing that. Mind hygiene is based on cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing therapy, rational emotive behavioral therapy, metacognitive behavioral therapy. I have a certification in mindfulness-based stress reduction. I have a life coach certification. I'm a medical doctor. I took the Chief Patient Experience exam, which has to do with population health and health integrity and health equity. I'm gonna get those results today. See what happens. But it's the life experiences that makes this up. I feel that I have been blessed with the opportunity to be able to get up in the morning. I was telling somebody this yesterday, put my dog in daycare, go to therapy, come back, have the cognition to write. I feel it's my duty to share this with other people. But the life experiences mainly is from self-hate to self-love. That's what makes up mind hygiene. All of this stuff is great, but it's how did I get to a state of emotional freedom with people who have done these types of things to me and the things that happen to me. Okay, what we'll do is we'll have some fun right now. What we're gonna do is we'll do a quick mind hygiene meditation, but from, boy, that's not gonna work there. From my dad's side though. We're not gonna think about, oh, he did this to me. Why did he do that to me? Why did he hurt me? We're gonna mind hygiene from his perspective. Let's see here. So we have my dad. His forehead, angry. And then there's poor me going to take this test.
What did you say you were going to fail 10 times?
Yeah, he wanted me to fail 10 times. And we'll try to understand why he did that. So yeah, you go to school, he helps you out, and he wants me to fail. So what we'll do is we'll try to accept your awareness, communicate your compassion, and embrace your empathy, and soften the process. That's what I call ACEs with mind hygiene. And we're gonna try to empower them. That means we're not gonna try to fix and overcome thoughts. So let's start with this. So the awareness here on the inside and on the outside. I tend to sometimes turn my back, so just let me know if I am. On the inside, my dad is hurting. Well, why is that? Why is he hurting? Well, he came from India. He came from India to America. He filed for bankruptcy twice. He doesn't have money. Well, I'm about to go to the US, USMLE, step 1, step 2. I'm about to start making money. He knows that. He knows that I just wasn't stopping at that time. I didn't fail any tests. Maybe that could be the reason why. Implicit biases on the inside. He's gay. My dad is gay. My brother was gay. My mom told me a lot of stories. Which leads me to believe that he just had so much self-hatred that he was displacing that hate on everybody else. But on the outside, he's fine. I am in the relentless pursuit of truth. Vagabond. He's fine on the outside. Overconfidence. I believe overconfidence is directly proportional to low self-esteem. Those are people who are loud, abrasive, interruptive. That was me for many years. I just needed to get my point across. Please listen to me. And that's the way my dad was too. Awareness. He's not doing anything on purpose. He's not taking time to hygienically treat his mind or whatever people do to heal themselves. This meditation may not work for everybody, but he's not doing that. He's not doing anything intentionally. He might be premeditating that he wants to hurt me, but he's not doing anything intentionally. And here's one key to this, is that he is mindless. He doesn't know what he's doing. I was mindless for so many years. He's not present. If he thinks about this, all he'll do is displace the hate. Money, he'll displace the hate. He thinks he's fine. He's not doing anything on purpose. He's not doing anything intentionally to heal his mind, and he's absent-minded. He's not present. Mind over matter, hitting me, making me hit my mom. Mind over matter. He doesn't have that. He's absent-minded. So that's one part of empowering ACEs. Compassion. Communicate your compassion. Well, he doesn't have compassion for himself. What do you guys feel the opposite of compassion is?
Wishing hard.
Bitter indignation is resentment. That's the definition. So opposite of is judgment. But he's judging himself. I mean, the times I judged myself, I judged everybody else. Oh, you're not working out? Well, you need to lose weight, diet, and exercise. I'm judging everybody else. I remember there was a time, are you guys familiar with, it's the Washington physician, like where you can look at the databases of people who are using like narcotics and schedule meds. I wrote on a tab, drug addicts, and I became a drug addict. Imagine how much judgment that was. I yelled at my brother one time when he was doing meth. I was like, can you believe it? And then 5 years later, I'm in rehab. But what he's doing is he's resenting himself and he's judging himself. How can he have compassion for himself if he's resenting and judging himself all the time? And how about embracing your empathy? Well, definitely not doing that. This story has some masala on it. Masala where he sprinkles your own like versions. So the story has some masala on it, but this is going to be the gist. Savitri and Saraswati. So Savitri she was 5 years old. She had, I don't know, I think she had malaria or hepatitis A, something like that. Something that had that, the illness where, like the up and down fevers and chills. So what my dad's dad did was he put her in hot water and then cold water. And then a few days later, she died. And she's 5 years old. My dad saw it. Older sister, Saraswati, brother-in-law was abusive. Uncle, brother-in-law. Brother-in-law was abusive. He saw her get beat to death. Like they're living in the same house. I don't know how close he was. I don't know what happened, but he is not empathizing with himself. He's not taking time to empathize with it. He's not accepting his awareness. He's not aware that this happened. He's like, nope, that's just the way it is. Here is the other part about, and this is one of my favorites, and this is where these words hard, discipline, habits need to be replaced by investment. Rational emotive behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization, reprocessing therapy. Let's reprocess this event of my dad trying to make me fail the day before I go to take a test. That one person who did that to you, let's try to soften the process of maybe trying to forgive yourself for some of the things that you did that they did to you. Well, I did the same things to other people. Well, not on his level, but I would resent, I would judge because I was judging myself, but I didn't know it because I was mindless. Now we can soften the process. If other people can do it, why can't I? If that person can be mindful, why can't I? It took me about 1.5 years. Why can't I do it? But if you make it seem like it's hard or difficult, am I like that when I'm writing? Are you guys able to follow? Yeah. When I say that it's difficult, I mean, and I talk to a couple other people who say that, well, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be too difficult. I mean, if you find a couple of people that you can blame, that's the path of least resistance. Let's go to my favorite. Faces. Disregard faces. Any questions here on this?
It's interesting when you said fail 10 times. What initially came to my mind was he said that because it was supposed to help you. But he said it to hurt you. That was interesting.
But are you sure that he said it to hurt you? Because my thoughts were, if you fail, you still hear he's under your protection. He could watch over you, and I didn't take it as trying to hurt you. In his all mixed up way trying to protect you. I don't want you to go back to the States because so many terrible things happen there.
I thought about that too. And I think that I might be leaning more on the side of that too, the 60-40. But still at the same time, there are other ways around it. But this is all he knew. Now, yeah, this is all he knows because that's his implicit bias. So let's take time to empathize with that. It could be this, it could be that. But how am I interpreting it as a 24-year-old? The good thing about it is I had so many friends. And, I rapped throughout that city. I'd be rapping at all these bars. I was getting paid like 1,000 rupees, or like $20 to rap. I thought I was, I was on a big high, like in that college town. And when he said that to me, I mean, it didn't really matter because I had so many people surrounding me. But yeah, no, that's interesting. And throughout this time, that's what I thought when I was writing this. I was like, well, he wanted me to be with him. Yeah, in other words. Yeah, what we'll do here is, what time is it? What time is it? 8:48. We're done at what time? Here. Okay, yeah. What time were we done here? 8.
So I don't know if they end this at before or right at
Yeah, 20 minutes. Okay, yeah. But what we'll do is we'll try to, yeah. This is my dad. We've created Mind Hygiene. So we've created the awareness, right? This is my dad, and this is him yelling at me. Let's try to condition our mind and train our mind to be happy and be nice. That's what we want that's our goal. If I am your personal trainer today, whatever I'm saying may not work for you. But what you want to do is you want to write on a regular basis. I can show you something maybe after this. But you want to write on a regular basis how I write to, like, right now I'm trying to stop eating sugar. I'm writing something similar. I want to stop eating sugar. I'll write for 1 second, why is it I'm eating sugar? Accept it, show compassion to it, not try to cope with my mind to attain whatever it is I want. Empower aces, disregard faces. Well, we did that already. Disregard fixing your mind. When you fix your mind, try to overcome your thoughts, try to control, try to cope with, try to block things out, or try to be strong, you develop resentments. When these things don't work, you don't like what happens after that. You're fixing yourself, emotions, drinking, eating. I was addicted to alcohol. I did cocaine for about 5 months. I feel it saved my life. Because if it wasn't for that, I would have just kept on drinking. I was overweight by 60 pounds. I was in gambling debt. But after I understood that this is what led me to where I was, and it was because of my dad. I remember my dad had a jubba pajama, which a jubba is like, an Indian, oh boy. It's like an Indian dress. And I took that's the last time I saw my dad. I would take that and I would nail it when I was drinking. I would take cigarettes and I would blow the cigarette smoke out on it. Because I resented him so much. I would nail the heart. And my mom was like, when she was living with me at the time, she's like, you're gonna have to be a little bit more softer with it. But yeah, training your mind to be nice and communicate with empathy. When you enhance your mind and you're more mindful, you're able to communicate with empathy to yourself, you can obviously do that with others. The only thing that I would like to say to you is to not think about it. You just can't think. You got to write it down to see exactly what you're thinking. Mind hygiene is based on mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral therapy. There's evidence and research that was done at the University of Oxford in England, which compared the efficacy of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy to traditional pharmacotherapy, fixes, sertraline, fluoxetine, citalopram, venlafaxine, etc. What it showed was that over 60 weeks with residual depressive symptoms, because this is what led to my drug use, my alcohol, my gambling, my eating, it showed that if you were to take your time, put some mind hygiene, mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral therapy techniques in where you're understanding your behaviors, it's actually not only comparable, but superior. Imagine you trying to lose weight by taking a weight loss med. I've taken all of them. I've taken Ally, I don't know if you heard of these. I tried to take semaglutide, if my insurance wouldn't cover it. I tried to take phentermine, but I just I don't know. I got scared and didn't take it. Yeah, I got the prescription, but I got scared and didn't take it. I've taken naloxone, buprenorphine, which is another weight loss. That made me so nauseous. And you know what? I just give up, and now I just try not to eat much. What I'm saying is that I tried all of these medications to fix things, but there's just no easy way out. You just got to do this every day. You got to wake up in the morning, you got to eat a healthy breakfast, you got to walk up the stairs instead of taking an elevator. When you go home, you're going to want to eat 4 hours before bed. You could take a medication, but this is where you write and you don't think, and you're able to experience this state of emotional freedom. Because if I can do it, you can too. If my life experiences may not apply to you, but whatever it is and whoever it is that's renting space in your head, if you can take time to understand it. I have not only 6 therapists, I have multiple. I just did a speaking program for 6 months, and I have about 15 speaking coaches. I mean, over the period of time. And I would do a half hour every week, and I would do 3 hours of group coaching. And then I have 3 rap coaches. One of them I'm still in touch with, a story coach, a branding coach. All of these guys have the same thoughts. They're just like, do one thing at a time and make sure that you write. What I'm saying is that you want to utilize all the resources we have in our country. But the way I look at it is that if you're going to go to see a personal trainer once a day, and for 23 hours you're doing your own thing, 23 minus 8, 15, you're doing your own thing, there's no point. Yeah. So it's the consistency. That's why I say just do it for like 1 second. I'll show you this real quick. This might have taken, so you can see here how I'm just writing at work. What am I trying to do here? Be happy and eat healthy and feel good about myself. So this is not complete yet, but that's crumble cookies. I'm creating mine. Poor guy. Uber Eats and crumble cookies. Yeah, I'm just like, dude, I'll order crumble cookies today, but I won't eat it.
It was in your mind.
Yeah, no, but what I'm telling myself is that I'll just accept that I'll order it and I'll eat a quarter piece. But if I want to eat another quarter piece, but I got to wait for 5 minutes. And then 10 minutes later, I'll eat the whole box. So this is what I'm doing here. And then here, what I'm doing is, I think I was practicing this here. Sugar and lose 10 pounds. Eat 1% less for 1 second. Work out for 1 second. There's no excuses. Yeah, and then I'm like, well, awareness is that inside I'm alone and I'm afraid of rejection. I don't remember what that was, but I was afraid of some type of rejection from somebody. And I was like, path of least resistance, no working out, forget about it. I'm just gonna go home. I have 2 cats and a dog and a great fiance, and she works. When she's not there, I bring one of my cats, he'll just hang out like a dog, and I'll bring my dog, we'll be in bed, and I'll watch TV, and for some reason I see a lot of value in Uber Eats. Instead of me going and picking it up, my therapist said that it's like you're being taken care of. When you get the Uber Eats, I was like, why do I do that? Even though I'm purposely, it's like right there. I live in Ballard in Seattle. Has everything around. I can just stop by. But nevertheless, what I'll do here is with the end of this, I wish there was more people. But what I'll do is I'll leave you guys with the learning objectives through a rap song. How do you feel about that? Sure. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys to engage in this, okay? How do you feel about this type of meditation? It's a very different one.
Great. Stream of consciousness is always good, however it comes out.
Yeah, and if you look here over time, some of them I might be practicing for this, but there was, I'll kind of show you the way my mind thinks. So writing, okay, so I'm practicing for this, but there's one that, well, I guess you guys get the picture of what I'm doing here. So I was going to show you a few more things. But there's a book that I have called The Dumb Doctor. I thought I was stupid for so many years. Well, I wrote this book called The Dumb Doctor, and how I went from feeling like I'm being stupid to taking that and using it to my advantage. It's a free ebook, and I think I gave you guys this yesterday. So what I would like for you to do is, if you can give me some actionable feedback on this. I gave it to you guys yesterday, right? Yeah, you got one too? Okay, and you got one, Kelsey. Yeah, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is just give me actionable feedback on it, because Otherwise, I'm not going to know. And if there's somebody that you think that I might, they might benefit from this and see value in it, please let them know. But what I would say is that at the end of the day, when you go home, when you go to work, what is it that you're thinking? Is it because of somebody 20 years ago that you may not have forgiven, like that one instance with my dad? What I recommend is just taking one instance and writing for 1 second every day. Again, it doesn't have to be like this, but when you create awareness, you condition your mind, you train your mind, and you do it often enough. If you can do something 17 hours or 17 minutes a day for 3 weeks, you'll develop that habit, but I call it investment. 3 weeks. But try it for 17 seconds, and then you'll get bothered. Then you'll do it for 20. I think one of those I might have gone for 10, 15 minutes, like in between patients. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'll ask you guys to engage, and when I say mind hygiene, you say that's the goal. Mind hygiene? Mind hygiene? Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Woo, woo, woo. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Be vulnerable. That's the goal. Embellish your empathy so your patients trust you. That's the goal. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Be vulnerable. That's the goal. Embellish your empathy so your patients trust you. That's the goal. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Woo, woo, woo. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Mind hygiene? That's the goal. Mind hygiene? Straight up, straight up, straight up. Speak your heart with empathy aloud. Speak your heart and don't let patient down. Mind hygiene with empathy around. Emotionally free in the clouds. Don't judge yourself. Always in doubt. This is how your doctors burn out. Mind hygiene is something like a crown. Crown yourself, don't let yourself down. Has there ever been a time you judge yourself? Try to let go, but nothing helps. Waking, drug stain, money drink, sleep pain. Feels like you don't even love yourself. Well, I've been that low, let me let you know. Dr. Gulur, man, I learned to grow with mind hygiene. I'll be a keynote. And the patience to give you 95% go. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Be vulnerable. That's the goal. Embellish your empathy so your patients trust you. That's the goal. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Be vulnerable. That's the goal. Embellish your empathy so your patients trust you. That's the goal. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Woo, 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 woo. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Mind hygiene, that's the goal. Woo, straight up, straight up. Yeah, that's so fun. All right, thank you guys. Thank you. I had a lot of fun. Yes. Oh my God, how do you turn this off? Yeah, so the free ebook is in there. What were you asking me?
The book, like if your stories and the activity, like the exercise, if I needed a reminder or something like that, can I find it in there?
Yeah, it's there. And then there is some evidence for like depression and how it affects and how it affected me. You can skip that part. It's a lot of medical evidence. But yeah, the story of what I did and how it applies to you and simple actionable steps. It's like about an hour and a half read. It's just a small free ebook. Next year, I'm coming out with an album called Emotional Freedom Patient Experiences. You can find me on Spotify. It's at Dr. Dhruva Gulur. On YouTube, you can put in Dr. Dhruva Gulur. I think I have about a couple million views on my channel, like 7,000 subscribers. I have multiple music videos on there. Where, it was just throughout this time, because when you rap, it's not like a melody. And I'm learning about myself. I'm like, oh, I hate myself. Oh, I have low self-esteem. Oh, I try to people please. I feel like, why is it that I'm a doctor, but I don't feel like I am? But I didn't know it when I was doing all of these things. There's one song I call Cognizance. I didn't understand what awareness was at that time. I wrote the song Cognizance with everybody in urgent care. I felt treated me bad. I worked in urgent care. And then when I listened to that song, I'm like, maybe there's a different life for me.
I think it's amazing that you're able to be open. Like a lot of people, it's very hard for them to share and be open to help others, and I think that's amazing.
Well, when you realize it's a calling, and other people have done it. So Dr. Samson Davis, he's based out of New Jersey. He also went to jail. And I got him on, he's a celebrity speaker. And I got him on the phone. I kept on calling his assistant. And I was like, how'd you do it? How'd you come out? What did you say? And he was like, I'll end it with this. 30 minutes go by. I'll end it with this. 30 minutes go by. He talked for like 3 hours, and he was like, just write it out and see what the blessings are. That day it changed. And then that day I started working. I started going to the juvenile detention center that I was locked up at. So then if somebody was to ask me, they're like, they can't say anything to me because I'm speaking at the juvenile detention center that I was locked up at. And then what I did was I worked at Stafford Creek Corrections in Aberdeen as a prison doctor for 6 months. That was the most compassionate environment I've ever worked in. And if I can show compassion and empathy there, now I can be confident to be a speaker about it. So that's kind of, the journey goes like that. And I mean, this is like my second win, and I'm able to be myself at all times. The thing about it is that when I had my mental breakdown and I was on drugs, everybody at UW helped me. My story was out there already. They all helped me. I'm like, well, if my mom was alive or my brother was alive, I probably wouldn't do any of this. But then I'm like upset now. Like, what do I do? This mindfulness is my drug of choice now. So, yeah. But thank you guys. Namaste. I appreciate you guys listening. It's so fun.